Hello, my name is Tracy Stock and I'm a ward councillor for Beeston, Blenheim and Sandy. I'm also Deputy Executive Member for Health and Corporate Resources and Lead Member for Member Learning and Development. I was delighted to be elected in May 2015 to represent the Sandy ward. I was born in Sandy and I have lived locally all my life. I've lived in Beeston for the last 13 years with my family. Previous to being elected as a ward councillor, my career was predominantly in office equipment and in sales during the 80s and 90s, working for Canon UK in the sales division. I gave up my career to bring up my family, and now I enjoy being a grandma. I've been a school governor in Sandy for 20 years and continue to be an active governor at Sandy Secondary School. In 2014, I was approached by existing ward councillors about being a ward councillor, and I hadn't really considered the role before. The reason why I decided to stand was to make a difference in my community. I enjoy working hard and find my role very rewarding. To be able to help and support an individual or to challenge and reverse a decision, for example, the rerouting of a vital public bus service in Sandy. This impacted on many lives, both young and old, travelling to Bedford College or for nipping into town, having a coffee, going shopping, meeting friends. It made a difference. I enjoy working with my colleagues and being part of the decision-making process for the running of the council and the benefit of our residents. I can honestly say I love my job, and if you're thinking of standing, go for it.
I've always been interested in politics, and when I moved to Potton 10 years ago, I really felt part of the community. I wanted to get involved in local issues, and I became a town councillor. A year later, I heard that there was going to be a Central Beds Council election, and some of my new friends encouraged me to take part and to stand as a councillor, and they've been really supportive ever since. So I got out and I knocked on doors, and I found that people were really receptive to the idea of having an independent represent them. They didn't see why party politics should play a part in local government. Even so, it was a real shock to be elected, and I was re-elected 4 years later and became leader of the independent group on the council. It's been a huge pleasure to be involved in the decisions that really affect people's lives, especially those that don't feel that they have a voice. As an independent, I've been free to truly represent the people that live near me and to put forward their views. I fit being a councillor around a full-time job, family, triathlon, and I've even done a part-time master's degree. You can do it.
My name is Susan Goodchild. I am currently an elected representative for the Houghton Hall ward in Houghton Regis, a position I have held since 2011. Prior to that, I was a Bedfordshire County Councillor from 2005. Being a councillor is a unique civic duty, one that comes with a democratic mandate, responsibility for services and the opportunity to make a lasting impact on local communities. My time as a councillor has allowed me to form strong bonds with residents, schools, officers of the town council, police, various stakeholders and of course my fellow unitary councillors. In outlining the role, Central Bedfordshire Council states that unitary councillors should be recognised as the local community champion for their area. They should also be at the heart of local multi-agency working and coordination. They are the council's interface with town and parish councils and advocate the needs of where standards are not met. I fulfil these duties to the best of my ability at all times. During my career, I've worked in local government for 10 years and was a financial consultant for 30. One of my greatest achievements since my election in 2005 was receiving a lifetime award for services in the community. If you are interested in making a difference in your community, then I would encourage you to stand as a ward councillor.
Hello, my name's Ian Delgado and I'm the ward councillor for Olsey in central Bedfordshire. I've lived in Arlesey since 2009, and I joined the parish council there in 2010. Having seen what was going on in my local community, I thought I could add additional value to the job that the council were doing. Having made a difference, and I felt at the time, I subsequently stood for Mid Beds District Council, which then became Central Bedfordshire Council. I'm now currently the Executive Member for Community Services at Central Bedfordshire, and I'm really enjoying the job that I'm doing. I feel that local communities should be represented by people from within their community, and I really would like to see more people from different backgrounds, more women, more younger people. Okay, it doesn't have to be a captain of industry, it could be anybody who's got some experience to come along and represent your community. So if you're a mum with young kids, okay, you can come along and become a councillor. The amount of time that it takes to be a councillor will be dependent on how much you want to do. When I first started as a councillor, I used to do probably 3 or 4 hours a week, and it fitted in well with my work regime. And now, as a full-time councillor for Central Beds, because I was lucky enough to retire this year, okay, I can give more commitment to the role that I do. I do believe that if you become a councillor and you put yourself forward to be a Central Beds representative for your community, you will get a huge amount of job satisfaction from that role. So in terms of some of the things that I'm proud of in terms of being a councillor, I know when I first took over the portfolio for sports, leisure, etc., was being able to save a leisure centre which was slated for closure. My background was at the time as a profit improvement manager, and I was able to look at that business and the leisure centre and actually put together a business plan to turn it around and develop it as a going concern. And now that is absolutely a fantastic facility within the local community, and I'm very proud as a councillor to have made that difference. And that wasn't just for my community, that was for the wider community as well. One of the fears that people have when they put themselves forward to be a councillor is that concern about the level of support that you would get and how their lack of experience, etc., and how that would come across. Well, if you join Central Beds Local Authority, we put you on a member programme as well, so you get lots and lots of support from the officers. If you join as a part of a political group, obviously that political group will give you mentoring and will give you support as well. So I think no matter whether you come from an independent background or a political background, okay, you can be assured if you come and put yourself forward for Central Beds of the best possible start to a career and an interest within local government.
My name is Antonia Ryan. I'm the councillor for Parkside, Houghton Regis, which is my hometown. I became a councillor because I wanted to make a difference locally. Houghton Regis has a great community and so much potential. Unfortunately, it's in year-on-year cuts with lack of regeneration, and this is what has motivated me to stand. I was elected councillor in May 2015, having gained the confidence of my local party thanks to my vision and ability to drive forward local campaigns. In this role, I showed community leadership by being the local area's main representative and ensuring that my ward's message is communicated clearly and concisely, resonating to a wide demographic. Before being elected, I was an activist, campaigning on both local and national issues. I am one of 2 Labour councillors on Conservative-dominated council, which means that I do not only have to be a good campaigner, but I also have to negotiate and lobby with other parties, ensuring that the best outcomes are reached for my ward. This consists of highlighting issues not only to the council, but also to the public on cuts to early help, lack of social mobility, and the impacts to schools due to change to funding. In all these areas, I've managed to gain support from the public by using various media outlets. As a councillor, I most enjoy working with other like-minded people who want to make a difference locally. The enthusiasm from the community keeps me motivated, as does seeing change happen and fighting to improve lives for the people who are most in need. The challenges I face include accepting that change can rarely be made overnight and finding genuine ways of managing expectations, particularly to those who are hard to reach. Most of our progressive strategies have been overshadowed with current cuts and funding difficulties we have experienced locally from the impact of national policies. I fit my council duties around full-time employment for an organisation that represents the interests of global transport workers' unions in bodies that take decisions affecting employment rights and conditions. Fighting for people's rights is at the core of everything I do. I believe the council should represent the diversities in our community, so I would encourage anyone from all backgrounds who wants to make a change in their community should put themselves forward.
Hello, my name's Alison Graham and I'm the independent member for the Silsoe and Shillington ward in central Bedfordshire. In my patch I have 3 villages and a lot of green fields. For most of my professional life, I was a senior manager, I was an academic, I was a journalist, but mostly in Europe. So when I finally came back to Britain, I could look at it, and I did, through a stranger's eyes. But some of what I saw I didn't like. After throwing cushions at the telly for long enough, I said to myself, well, woman, get off your backside and do something about it. But I didn't wait for a local election. I got started as an activist. I was delivering my own leaflets, and so I was halfway there when the next election came up. Campaigning is a slog. It needs a lot of commitment and a lot of stamina. But that's the best way to get to know the people you would like to represent. And so you certainly get to know their letterboxes. And they get to know you. I've been a councillor for Central Beds since its creation, and I was a district councillor before that, so I suppose that's over 10 years by now. Now, the next big question is, what does a councillor actually do? Well, there are basically 2 halves to the job. A lot of it's casework. People in your ward come to you with a huge range of problems which you are supposed to sort out. Now, before you say, okay, that's it, bye-bye, I'm off. Let me say at once, there's a vast network of help for you. You're not supposed to be an expert. There's an induction course, and then there are the officers. They are endlessly patient, they're helpful, they're professional, and you will learn on the job. You wouldn't believe what I know now about S106 monies. The other half of the job involves your being on committees. You will be voting on matters which affect the whole of Central Bedfordshire Council. Tax, schools, care homes, waste collection, potholes, you name it, you will have a voice in deciding these major issues, and it's a big responsibility. And as far as I'm concerned, I also speak up for the rural areas and the villages. Now, one of my happiest memories has to be preventing a resident with an autistic child from being evicted and for the officers to find a suitable housing solution. When I heard the confirmation, I jumped up and down in the garden and I was saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I wasn't sure who I was thanking, the good Lord or Central Bedfordshire, but I could not have been happier. One area I am trying to influence is getting a comprehensive climate change adaptation strategy for Central Bedfordshire, because I believe it's important for our children and our grandchildren. Now, I know you can't change the world single-handed. You can only do what's on your own doorstep. And Central Bedfordshire is our doorstep. No 2 days are the same for a councillor. It's a roller coaster. Some things you win and some you don't. But that's life. What I can say to you is, if you are lucky enough to become a councillor, you can make a difference.